Hey everyone, just giving you all a heads up. I apologize for missing last week's episode. I was in Dayton, Ohio, and I was attending the Tat HoeDown, which was being hosted by Jonathan Gearheart, Jime Litwalk, and myself. It was an amazing time. I was hoping to podcast the entire week and get a handful of young people on there, a couple of older guys on there. But unfortunately, the hoedown itself took a lot out of us. It was 3 solid days, and it was nonstop drawing, creating, talking shit, comparing notes, just talking the trade, man. It was an amazing couple of days. What you're about to watch was a live audience podcast with myself and 3 other fellows on stage. They're going to introduce themselves shortly. And it was something completely different for me. I've never done this before. So again, like usual, I am asking everybody to please take everything that's, give me some grace, because not for nothing, I'm doing this by myself. The lighting is shit. The sound is okay. There's a lot of technical issues. I just hope that the content itself is enough to keep you watching. And having said that, I'm going to get right to it. I appreciate everybody out there who supports the channel. Spread the word, like and subscribe, and I'll see you when I see you. Let's see what happens. Hey everybody, welcome to an episode of Not For Nothing. I am in, wow, I'm talking really loud, sorry. We are actually in a different environment. I am in Kettering, Ohio, at Anchorhead Tattoo, Jonathan Gearhart's shop. Jonathan and Jime Litwalk had an amazing idea a while back to do kind of a gathering of artists. You know what I mean? And I think it was a great idea. And I kind of was asked to jump on board, and I did. And in all honesty, this is the end of towards the end of the second day, and it has been tremendous. I'm not going to go into the super details, but today we're going to do a live audience thing. This isn't going live, so don't worry about it, guys. Nobody's got to worry about anything. But this is the crew that's left over from today, and I think it's going to be really fucking cool. So they're going to be asking questions, not me, but I'm going to have the guys sitting to my right introduce themselves. We're going to start on the end over there. So why don't you introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, all the fun stuff.
I'm Quinton Lee from Louisville, Kentucky. I've been tattooing for about 15 years and building machines somewhere around 5.
That's it?
That's it.
Again, Eric Inklan. I've been tattooing almost 36 years, and I've been building machines for about 30 years. And that's it.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
I'm Randy Randerson.
I started,
yeah. I tattoo in Oklahoma City. I've been tattooing a little over 20 years, and I've been building machines about 10 years.
And been riding my coattails the rest of the time.
Gee, got no coattails left.
Wow, that was shots fired all right. I was gonna say somebody just threw down a fucking gauntlet. Well, let me ask you guys a quick question, and then we're gonna start taking questions from everybody.
Yes.
What are your impressions? This is the second day. All 3 of you guys have spoken this whole weekend. You know what I mean? Obviously, mainly about machine theory and stuff like that. A little bit on not so much on the business itself, although Randy's had a little bit more to do with what's happening in the industry right now. You know what I mean? But what are your impressions so far?
Oh, this has been great. I've had a great time talking to everybody. It's cool to see a lot of interest in what we do, and it's crazy how many younger tattooers are here. And I don't say younger by experience, because like most of y'all are older than I do. But yeah, this is a great idea.
I like how you put that shot in about us being older than you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Advanced age. Yeah, it's been actually really great. I've been talking to these guys these guys, like on the phone and through the internet and all that, like, man, I'm really hoping this goes good. Like, because I've gotten very bitter towards tattooing because, I have very, and it's very like I really want to see tattooing succeed, and it's going to take I hate saying the younger generation, but it is going to take the younger generation to, bring it up and to keep it going at a high level. So being here, talking to everybody, seeing the interest, it's definitely like, I went home, called my wife, and like, it was fucking awesome. Fucking building machines with these people and talking shop and telling stories and showing interest. Like, I loved it. So thank you guys for that. It's been very cool.
What about you, Randy?
I'm going to be honest. I'll just be completely honest. Is Jimmy called me and said, we're going to all meet at Fudd's, a couple of guys, and then after that, we're going to go to North Carolina. And I said, yeah, me and Josh will go, right? And I included him because everyone knows him, right? The few people that know him. And I said, okay, cool. And I said, okay, cool. And I told him every time he asked me, so what are we doing again? Because here's the thing, it's great. I'm telling him what the plan is, just to repeat the fucking thing 11 times. But when I told him, I said, we're going to go down there, we're going to listen to everyone bitch that's old. We're going to eat some ramen. We're going to talk about how we wish it was definitely not like it is right now. And then we're going to drive to Carolina. And it's totally not it. There's so many fucking people here that I got to talk to. But it is...
Yeah, the turnout...
For the fucking record, he was very much informed because he called me 900 fucking times like he's got dementia and asked me over and over again, hey dude, what's this thing about? I'm like, dude, I told you 3 days ago what it is. No, dude, what are we doing? And you're like...
He told me you wouldn't answer the phone.
He says that shit every fucking time.
Because you don't.
You're lying.
That's
dude.
why, and I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
The best thing about fucking, technology nowadays is the fact that you can't go back and look at phone calls and when they've done it and how full of shit you are.
That is...
Yeah.
It already sounds like a fucking Waylon Flowers and Madam fucking episode.
Yeah, right?
Oh, this is going to be...
And half of you guys don't even know who that is.
This is going to be an absolute shit show. So,
Yeah.
Waylon Flowers and Madam.
When in the 70s did that come out?
Dude, as soon as you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's the oldest thing I've ever heard
What is
of.
your impression?
what's my impression?
What's your impression,
I mean,
Joe?
my impression is, like, deep down, I really believe that people were going to come out. I truly did, because I as much as I shit on everything that's happening in the business right now, I know that there are a ton of like-minded individuals in this business. And not for nothing, this fucking proves it. Like, what you're seeing today, like right now, in this moment, is just, I won't say it's a small fraction. I'd say it's probably 2/3 of what was here yesterday and probably earlier today, too. These are the guys, everybody here is the major holdout. These are the people that are really here to absorb, to sit with their peers and draw and take part in conversations, questioning stuffing, buying books, t-shirts, machines, and just being able to sit and talk. And I would like to say too that nobody got charged. The only thing people paid for was the ramen next door. You know what I mean? That was it. So I'm not for nothing. I applaud you guys for taking part. I honestly believe that you guys, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to thank you again, probably 10 times. But in the meantime, who's got a question? Who wants to ask a question?
Yo.
There you go.
Sorry. Oh god. Okay. So nervous.
On the spot now.
Asking anyone, honestly, on the panel who would like to answer.
I bet you Eric will answer.
Has there been like a nugget of advice that you were given by a mentor figure that you'd want to pass on to younger tattooers that deeply affected your career in a positive way? Is there anything you could say right now that
Absolutely.
benefited you?
Absolutely. Tennessee Dave Gibson, or Tennessee Dave, what's his name? Not Tennessee Dave.
It was just Tennessee
right?
Dave.
He had always said, dude, all you got to let him do is think you know what you're doing and you'll make it. No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. No, it was always this just be true to the business. I write on all my machines that all of them say LTP. And I'll just put it out there because a lot of people ask what that means. And that stands for loyal to the profession. You got to stay loyal to this profession, because this profession, if you stay in it long enough, if you're lucky enough to stay in it long enough and to take care of you and your family like it has for me personally for the last, 36 years, you're going to meet the best and the worst people you've ever met in your life, and you're going to learn everything from the best and the worst people. You know what I mean? So that's my advice, is just stay loyal to the profession, loyal to the craft, be respectful to the people that came before you, of course, because without those shoulders of the giants to stand on, including myself, I wouldn't be here, and nobody else would, So that's my little 1.5 cents there.
Somebody told me that if you think you sell pictures for a living, you don't know what your job is. And that's the end of that one. But it takes, once you realize it, you're going to go, oh, that's fucking right. Because people remember how they got tattooed way longer than how good you tattoo. So, I'm looking at people still kicking. The guy's on book 9 months, and I'm like, you wear flip-flops to work. But I'm a hell of a nice guy, and it fucking works. I'm telling you, because if you come get tattooed at my place, I'm the same dude. I'll still do stand-up. But
When are you gonna be funny though?
will it? Whoa. Yeah. On the days I'm not funny, Josh will be funny for me.
How's it go still?
Anybody else? Yep.
I was told that if you ever think that you know it all, it's time to quit. We're never a true professional. We are professional apprentices. Always keep your mind open. Always be willing to learn.
Eric, you're still you're an apprentice?
Yes, I am.
You're a fucking tater tot.
Hey man, just the conversations that we've had, we've taught each other shit about machines this weekend.
Yeah.
I keep saying weekend. It feels like a fucking weekend to me.
Yeah.
It's a regular weekday right now.
It really, I mean, this has been a lot for a couple of days, for 2 days so far. Like each one of us, everybody drove here for the most part or flew here. Mm-hmm. We've had multiple hours in a vehicle, and just to be part of this was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't, it's funny. I don't know. I mean, the advice I've gotten wasn't from a mentor. It was from individuals I work with. And the one piece of advice I got that I really took and ran with was, you can do this anywhere in the world. Like you can pack up a car, you can load stuff in a suitcase, get on a plane, and go anywhere. I can only hope that, given the current state of the fucking world, that's not going to change anytime soon. But realistically, that's probably the one thing that I took the most. I think the respect for the business and the respect for the people in it, that comes, I think it's because it's me. I think it's just natural. I think it was just something that became natural.
You're correct, because I literally, just before we did this, I just showed a few people pictures of you being able to literally do this anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even need power. You can literally just do it anywhere.
Right.
Actually, Randy taught me Tabori earlier.
Well, a long time ago, I had asked Lyle Tuttle, do you have any, I was really young, and I said, do you have any advice for young tattooers? He goes, yeah, I got plenty. And I said, well, I have some questions. He said, write them down on a $100 bill and mail it to me.
That is 100% Lyle, boy.
Yeah, and then later, I got pictures of him wearing my face shirt. And he goes, I was you before you were you. People have my picture. And I said, man, that's cool, And I said, hey, a long time ago, you told me to write it on a $100 bill. I didn't have $100 then, right? And he thought that was pretty fucking funny, right? Because he said, what kind of a tattooer were you? And I said, a broke motherfucking one. And I said, you got any advice now? He goes, yeah, the best tattoo advice I can give you is buy real estate. And I was like, this fucking guy won't quit. It's been fucking...
every bit of advice is going to cost you a
fucking Jesus Christ. Yeah. And so later, I'm 36, and I was like, hey, I think I finally got the advice. So now when people ask me, I want to say shit like that. What's the best thing you can do? I was like, you should buy a horse ranch, right? That's going to help you tattoo better, I think. Yeah, horse ranch. Write that down. Yeah.
What do you need to see from the younger generations for them to move it forward?
respect. Like, respect of the old ways, respect of the work that it took to build this into what it is. My mentor was very big into, you know, he was like, I kind of said this earlier whenever Randy was talking, like, with the being open and willing to learn. Once you start to practice making your own shit, studying your own tools and all the different things that we talked about, then you understand just what the older dudes had to go through to get here, and just hopefully realize that this isn't just a commodity. This took a lot of blood, sweat, and fighting the legal system and all the outlaw shit that they used to do. Because the impression that I get from a lot of newly, new tattooers or whatever, is that they just think that it's a cool rock star job, and it's fucking not. It's like, it's more done out of passion and a love for the game than it is to be driving Lambos and fucking wearing fancy Rolexes.
Well, I think the problem with that mentality is it's that there's a huge part of the newer generation and a lot of the older generation that they were just that. It was all about flash. It wasn't about,
That's
you
fair.
know, and I mean flash by, you know, cars, clothes, watches, whatever. I mean, there's always been that part of it. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what bit us in the ass, is the fact that you've got, especially with social media, you've got individuals that are renting vehicles just so they can look cool on a fucking reel. You know what I mean? So the fact is, they're having, you know, money waved under their nose, and the opportunity to make money. Like we say, you know, you can go anywhere in the world and do that. Who the fuck wouldn't want to do that?
Sure.
Like, so I mean, you actually bait the trap by talking about how good it is. And nowadays, all you see is how good it is. Very few people want to talk about, like, the troubles that we find ourselves in now. You know what I mean? And the problem being is, when you do say it, there's a contingent of individuals out there that are just telling you you're out of your fucking mind. You know, who's that cocksucker online now that's telling people they can make 30 grand a fucking month? Like, why would you? First of all, it's fucking untrue. I'm not going to say there's not a tattooer out there robbing their clients blind and doing just that. But why would you do that, knowing, because you know full well some dumbass is going to pay you to fucking teach them to not make 30 grand a month. They're not going to do it. It's not possible now. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
That was
What-
one of the things I felt like back in the day, how old that really statement sounds, but we always wanted to be publicly accepted. You know, when I started tattooing, you know, and even then, I've been tattooing 33 years, and I still don't feel like I've been tattooing long enough to really have a lot of say in the industry. Because, you know, a lot of the guys I still looked up to are still tattooing today, you know. A lot of them have passed recently and stuff like that, but I still remember my conversations like they were last week. You know, not that I have a great memory at all, but that's the stuff I really, you know, holds true to me. But we wanted to be publicly accepted because, you know, it was still kind of that, we always said the pirate life, but it didn't mean like we were just like fucking everyone over. It just meant like we governed ourselves. It just meant that we understood that we were the outcast, we had our own crew. It was basically like, when you seen another tattooer or people who had heavily tattoos, you're just like, yeah, you know what's up. And when you went into like the bank, or you went to try to buy a car or something like that, they would just instantly look at you like you're a piece of shit. And you're like, motherfucker, like, I do cash, man. Like, I'll buy this fucking place out from you. You know, I might look like a dirtbag, but I could fucking buy you 10 times over. But just because of the way you look, you were like, you know, looked down upon. And we were like, dude, we want to get more publicly accepted, more publicly accepted. And that was the worst thing we could have done, is that you better watch what you wish for. Because then we became publicly accepted, now we're publicly sold. We're basically, we looked at, no one else really governed us, so big corporations came in and was like, well, these motherfuckers clearly don't have a fucking clue of what's going on, and they came in and bought the shit out from right underneath us and then sold it right to us. And we were like, well, now what do we do? Well,
Yeah,
we have to rebuild now.
Yeah,
You know?
so like what you're saying, and on her question as well, here's what I say to a lot of people, and this sums up tattooing for me. And this isn't a blanket statement, because it's not everybody, but a big majority of they are some of the most incredible tattooers ever on this planet right now, that do stuff so mind-blowing that when you look at it, you're like, where the fuck did they even start that? It's so mind-blowing and it's so incredible. But I always say some of the greatest tattooers ever that don't know anything about tattooing. They know nothing about tattooing. They know art and they know how to use a tool, just as as another medium. And again, if they were educated and they knew can you imagine one of them motherfuckers doing that shit that was super educated, knew the history, like they would be unstoppable.
Well, but here's
you know what I mean.
But here's the thing with that: if you do know the industry and you know it that well, but I think the people that are getting into it for the art, like how many people in this room got into this business because of the art? Like, raise your hands. Okay, now how many of you guys consider yourselves like fucking artistes? You're not like you didn't get into this business wanting to be a tattooer. You got into this business to be a tattoo artist. Oh, less than I would have thought. And again, maybe this is the wrong crowd to ask this to, but I mean, I think a lot of individuals, like the guys who are pushing the normalcy of this business and the because I don't know if I would even ask you guys, like, how do you want it to be considered a true art form? Do you want this to be in, like, we all want to see it in history, you know what I mean? But do you want to see this in museums? For some, I mean, and I guess when you look at museums, there's two different ways you can look at it. You can look at it as a natural history museum, or you could look at it as an art museum. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would want to see it in an art museum. But I think there's a huge contingent of younger and older. Like Guy Aitchison was one of the first, Shotzi Gorman before him probably, that wanted this to be considered a true art form. And that's one of those things, like we're on that tightrope now where what do we do? You know?
Here's an easy way to sum it up.
To you how it's delivered. Because if you are a person that's selling it just to make profit, as opposed to an artist who's selling it to show people where the history of it came from. You know, there's going to be two sides of that coin. You know, to see it in a museum, like, you know, we've seen things out in California to where they were doing, you know, things with Jack and watching the whole history about those things come up. The way that was presented, hell yeah, I'd like to see that in a museum because the way it was done with respect. Then there's another times when you look at shit, they're like, I don't really give a fuck what we're showing you. We just want the profit of the door. And that comes off just as clear as well.
We're a victim of our own success, right? We're a victim of our own. So like Jimmy was saying, we wanted to be accepted. Like I hated going around, everyone looking at me like I was a fucking criminal or this and that and motherfuckers. And then next thing you know, I needed a fucking accountant and I needed a lawyer that I could call at any time, and I needed a business license. And then I was like, wait a minute. I started doing this kind of like one day you learn how to ride a dirt bike and you just love riding dirt bikes, and the next thing you know you're winning championships in motocross. You probably didn't think about that. You just loved riding. I remember walking into Tattoo Land in like 1986, a little gingerbread house, and just being like, holy fuck, this is the coolest thing ever. And then I just started doing it, and I never thought, and I remember going, oh my God, it's been fucking 10 years? Like, how the fuck did that happen? And then it's been 20 years? Like, how did that happen? Like, I never thought that I would make a living doing art as a living. I just thought it was something fun and cool and outlaw and like, dude, you get in fist fights and then go, you know, it's like, this is fucking cool. This is a cool thing to do, you know?
Don't you think it's inevitable that it's going to go to that eventually, especially with the times we live in? I mean, granted, 20, 30 years ago, you could have been like, no fucking way, this is going to blow up. But
no,
now,
you never thought. I never thought that.
That's what I'm saying. But now you have to look at it as being an inevitability, and now you have to look at it also as these cats coming into it now. They want all that. Like, it's not going to be enough to just make a living as a tattooer. They want all the glitz and glam that comes with it.
So certain people do, absolutely. I'm talking in the comment that I made earlier, based on that what I was saying about these people that are incredible tattooers that don't know shit about tattooing. I'm talking about the guys that do these beautiful pieces while they're wearing fucking headphones and act like you're not even fucking there. That don't interact with you. They don't talk to you. To them, you're just a fucking. You might as well just be a piece of paper. Because they want really nothing to do with you. Because to me, that's fucking insanely rude. If I went to sit down and give somebody a bunch of money and they put on some headphones, yeah, I'd fucking be like, fuck straight off. And I'd get the fuck up and walk right out.
Again, I think we're...
You know what I'm saying?
I think we're living in, you know, we're from different generations. Now, I don't mean you and I meant...
Yeah, but still, dude. But still, saying please and thank you, dude, is beyond generations.
Parallels with this topic, but, you know... the term gets thrown around like industry giants, like the old guys, the ones that paved the way for us. And now it's become so saturated to the point where everybody's getting into it. Do you think the days of the industry giants are gone, or that when the smoke settles, the oversaturation maybe lessens, that it'll carve out a new generation of industry giants?
They're not gone yet, but they're on their fucking way out.
But
I'll tell you that.
Do you see it after 30 years? Do you see that term, that idea that carved out your path, that's carving out our path? Do you see that still regenerating itself back into a younger generation, that we could recreate that industry giant to a new standard, a better standard, based off of the old standard, like you're talking about? Someone puts headphones on and they take away the interaction. Fuck that, because tattooing is more than just a tattoo. It's how you connect with your people. But that's based on the core principle. It's based on that value of I'm here for a service and I'm going to make it the best from start to finish. So will those industry giants recur? You know what I mean? Like, is that something that's...
I don't know if they'll reoccur, because the way we interact now versus back in the day is the way we interacted is we had to get off our ass and go places to see these people. We had to physically go to a tattoo shop. We had to physically go to a convention to see these people and to talk to them and to see what's going on. Now it's all, and I'll do it, and I'm part of it too, but it's all fucking text messaging and videoing and fucking Instacrap and all this other bullshit. Like, that's how they think, oh yeah, I'm connecting with this guy. And I've said it many times, and some of you might have heard it, like, hey man, I want to meet some of you guys that I talk to on the internet. I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. Like, fuck the computer shit. I think it's cooler to be able to shake your hand, take that fucking death photo. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want to do. Like, yeah, it's great introducing yourself or doing some business, you know? And yeah, but at the same time, I'm so disconnected with who is a industry giant nowadays. Industry giant is this guy. It's fucking Jimmy. It's this guy. That's an industry giant to me, because to me, they put into this business. They are like, okay, they're bringing something to the fucking table. This guy's just a really good fucking artist that does nice tattoo, but they don't really give a shit about tattooing. As long as they're getting their pockets stuffed with fucking money, right? And they're getting their fucking likes, and they're getting their fucking dick sucked on that computer. They don't give a shit what happens to tattooing. That's how I feel about it. Right. You know, now not a blanket statement, because I've met some really cool fucking people out there that are incredible tattooers, and I really dig them. And they, hey man, tell me about this. Tell me. They want to know, and if they want to know, I'll tell them. Right. You know, but the majority of them, they don't want to know. You know.
So the point you're trying to make is that art, like tattooing as an art form, it's not being perceived as an art form in the way we would need it to be, because these people from art schools are not considering the art history that built styles that actually hold up.
Well, it's not. I don't think it has to do with the styles. I think it has to do with like what he's talking about with the clients and stuff. When people come in, like when you block people out, when you make it about, you know, just the transaction.
It's the approach.
Well, it's whenever you make it just about the transaction and things like that, then, you know, but like whenever I was talking about like the glitz and the glamour and all that stuff, you know, a lot of the loudest mouths and the most rock star people are the most
full of shit,
shittiest tattooers, and they don't care.
Right there, man.
Well, you know, I mean, no, but I'm just saying, like what comes to mind is like Roy Boy. Like he's
fucking great. He was fucking greatness.
Right.
I love that guy, dude.
Right, but it was like this whole thing. But if you look at his tattoos and stuff, you're just
garbage,
like, dude. But
cool for back then.
But
yeah,
but that was the thing, though. It
wasn't a good one.
It don't matter back then.
Well, it was.
We're talking about it right now.
But he made an impression.
Yeah.
He made an impression, but is it to better tattooing as an art form, or be like, look at my tigers and my Lambos? Like it's.
Well, I think that was.
He was just eccentric, man. That was just his personality.
Yeah, I think he was clever enough. He was clever enough to record it. He was clever enough to. And again, if you think about it, that's the early portion of social media. That's like, hey, look at me, look at my guns, look at my boats, look at my broad, look at my tigers. But that was the beginning of that, if you think about it. So again, like so much that's happening in this business right now, there is nobody to blame but everybody here.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
People
this.
that like the pictures, but yeah.
Well, your first question, you asked what can we do moving forward? And the biggest thing I always see is if I walk through a convention, and firstly, this thing is different because I can go to a convention with 950 fucking people, and I can't remember one goddamn name when I get in the car, right? And everyone does. Yeah. Yeah. And so, but this is it's much more intimate. You're talking to people for longer. I've talked to more people here than I talk at conventions that have 60 times the people, right? And but what I see if you walk through a convention, you're gonna walk into row after row after row of what you're seeing is generic bullshit. Row after row after row after Pokemon, anime, iPad, pink, everything in my life's pink shit. And then you get to fucking, this is who I am. I like raccoons. And you're like, fuck off, man. Right? You can't be, I'm a grown man. If I met another guy and he was like, raccoons are my personality, but you work at a fucking zoo, man. Like, you don't need to be here. And
But don't you think you're selling people short by not giving them that space?
so, let me finish.
What space is
Let
that?
me
The safe
finish.
space?
No, but I haven't, I do talk to them. It's cool, but you can immediately tell if you have been tattooing long enough. You can immediately tell if someone's a tattooer or if they aren't. So to me, there's not other tattooers categories. It's either you're a tatter or you're a fucking guy who fucking thinks you do tats. And that's it. Even if you're doing better than me, I don't give a fuck. I don't make you a tatter. There's a lot of people, most people tattoo better than me. There's a lot of people in this room tattoo way better than me. But here's the thing, you're not a fucking tatter. Not in your heart, And to me, that was, so do you think there's stuff after tattooing? Have you ever considered, what will I do if tattooing crashes?
It's funny. Like that's a question. I think that's a question a lot of people are asking.
Well, they're at.
That word in itself, like, give people an indication, like, what is it to you that word means? Like, what is the core of that? Like, if someone came up and gave you the list of, like, yeah, I like X, Y, and Z, does that qualify me as a respect? Or if I'm looking only at this?
Well,
you're like,
if you there's a lot of guys that Eric had a bunch of flash. All the flash I picked, some of them have good pictures. But a lot of them, it's goofy shit that no one would ever tattoo again. But I know that dude is a lifer. That dude's going to do it for life. And when I meet somebody and we have similar interests and we have things like, do you understand what tattooing is about? Like, what is it to you? Because to me, when I got into tattooing, I've only ever done tattooing. I've never had other jobs. When I was 15, I started tattooing. Before that, I was tattooing out of my house. And I had business cards. And so I've done it my whole life, and I always loved it because you were a cowboy pirate who got to fucking do everything, and it was the whole thing. Everything was, my whole personality was built around that. So when I meet somebody and tattooing is optional to them in any capacity at all. If you tell me you're like, yeah, my real passion is video games, then fucking go play them.
I got a perfect example of that, because let me stop you real quick. This was several years ago. It has to do with Jimmy when he come out to Dallas, and remember that little convention at that little bar or whatever that we went to. We went to breakfast that morning with that girl, right? She's this girl. I'm not going to say her name, even though I fucking should. She's a great artist, and she did all these little Pokemon character bullshit, right? And just in Jimmy talk, never met her until that day, but just in the conversation, I can just see his irritation and his fucking despisement for this woman, because it was very like, and he's like, wait a minute, are you a tattooer, right? Do you know about this and that? No, I don't know about this. He goes, but okay, let me ask you, do you know this about Pokemon? Oh yeah, what about this character? Blah 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 blah, right? Just spitting off all this information about these fucking trading cards, and it's like. No, it was Pokemon, because I know who it is.
I don't know shit about that. No, because I asked her.
No, she was the Pokemon. But anyway,
Right.
The story is he basically said, he basically said, why the fuck do you know so much about this and you don't even do that? Then you know about the fucking business that you're in. Like, why do you know more about these fucking trading cards or whatever and you have all this information, but when I ask you about tattoo to me, and I thought about that, and I brought that story up to so many people through the years because it made so much fucking sense that like you have all this, and it's great to have knowledge. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with filling your head with knowledge, even if it has nothing to do with tattooing or whatever else. But when you focus on that more than the thing that takes care of you and your family, it's hard for me to process that.
I just don't take you as serious as if I meet another guy. I meet you, I meet a lot of people here, and I go, oh, this dude's fucking with it. And then if you want to be with it, that's the same category as with it to me. If you want to,
what really bothered me about her, the whole thing, is we were sitting there talking stories, and again, like we do here, it's like you get to hear people share and bring back, traveling and stuff. You don't see friends, like everything I have in my life, I owe to tattooing. All my friends, like my family, like everything's built around because of, to what brought me to tattooing, in tattooing. And we were sitting there telling stories, and every time, Eric or somebody at the table would bring something, she goes, you could tell, like, not only did she not give a shit about any of the history of the stories or anything, and just could not give a care less. And we're talking about machines and people and traveling. And then I was like, I just got so fed up with like her just like snarkiness about like not giving a fuck. And I asked her, I said, hey, you're a tattooer, right? She said, yeah. I said, you love tattooing? She's like, oh, absolutely, it's my life. I live and breathe this thing. I go, you live and breathe it, right? And she goes, yeah. And I go, okay, cool. And I had brought up, she had the Harry Potter shit on her. And I go, oh, you a fan of Harry Potter? She goes, yeah. I go, you love it? She goes, dude, I can tell you everything about it. The books, the movies, everything. I go, awesome. You can name me every character? She goes, the characters, she had like every damn background. She was like an encyclopedia about the whole thing. And I was like, cool. And then Eric had some machines with him that he was carrying in that little coffin case.
Yeah.
I was like, awesome. I opened his machine case and I put it on the table. I go, name me every part of that. She goes, huh? I go, name me every part of that. You live, breathe, sleep, love fucking tattooing. That's a machine that you fucking make your money with. You can't name every part on there? She goes, no, I don't need to. I go, but you're not a fucking movie maker, but you can tell me every background character, and you don't know shit about the thing that's fucking in your hand? And I go, yeah, you're not a tattooer. You're full of shit. And he was like, whoa.
I was like, damn, dude. Jimmy just went off, bro. Like, damn, dude.
That how she just bragged that, like, how was her life? Like, she made it known that, no, this is what I love, breathe, sleep. I was like, awesome. You don't fucking make movies. You didn't brag about that shit, but you could tell me every background character there was. And I just pulled out a machine. And I didn't ask you to fucking draw me anything amazing. I said, just name me the parts on this machine. Not a fucking name, not a one. And I was like, wow, you really clearly showed me you don't know a fucking thing, nor do you care. And I was probably a little bit more mean about it. I was early, I didn't have my coffee yet,
Hey, I deep down, I loved it, man. I was just like, yes, dude. I'm glad he did it and I didn't have to.
But if people come and want to hang out, I'll tell you everything. Every old dude will tell you every fucking... They'll never shut the fuck up.
If you show interest.
You're in a room right now talking to the same three dudes that won't shut the fuck up. And we will tell you all forever. I tell my kid, hey, you want to know about Stoney St. Clair? She's 13. She don't, okay? But she does know. And she goes, and I said, I told her, you could use this pen. I don't give a shit. She goes, I think I'll use what you want to use because... I think those are the real ones. And I was like, get in here, Good, but, and it's like, if you want to be, you're in the same category as somebody who already is to me. If you're a young guy and you're listening, you're like, hey, I'm interested in this. I'm interested to talk about it. You think I collect all this box of fucking bullshit just so I can look at it? I don't know any of these fucking people.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. But, and then in the future, your question, Monica, originally was what could people do? And when I brought this whole situation up, I said I'm walking through this whole convention, walking through 60 rows of people not contributing shit to tattooing at all. You're not making me inspired. You're not making me want to do better, harder, faster. You're not giving anything to tattooing.
Just taking.
You're just taking from it. And and I abuse that because it is that easy. I painted 35 sheets of flash and I just traced pop culture stuff and I made it chrome. I didn't have to draw anything. and I sold 1 trillion sheets of that shit.
Well, let me ask you a question though. How much of that do you think has to do with you trending? Like you're in the limelight. People like what you do because of who you were. I mean, you, and no offense, but you made a name for yourself as a fucking meme guy.
Yeah.
Like the first time I met you, I'm like, why the fuck are you popular? Like, and I asked Jimmy this. I did ask Jimmy this. I'm like, where the fuck does this come from? Like, who the fuck does know anything? You know what I mean? I've gotten to know you more, and I like you a little bit more. You know, but it's true. It's one of those things. It's like it took that not to take anything away from who you are and what your beliefs are, but it did take that to catapult you into that. Well,
before that, I tattooed a lot of tattooers, and I traveled a lot, and I painted a lot of regular flash that I drew all of, that I did everything. So I was still making a pretty good living with that. All I did was just start talking shit about the exact shit we're talking shit about. Yeah. As I started talking shit, I started making jokes about everybody. I made jokes about you. I said, how many times can Joe do the same chick face and still
giving me shit about
be relevant? And I was just curious.
Well, apparently it's about 25.
Yeah, and I was wondering, I said, because I told somebody, I said, if Eric can go 35 years and not draw anything, you can make it.
There you go.
You know? And I've always been an asshole because I've hung out in a tattoo shop. I was raised in a tattoo shop. But before that, I painted fuck tons of flash. And if you wouldn't buy it, I would give it to you. So at least it would hang up in your shop. I realized that if you give someone a painting in a frame, it's 99% going to hang up. But if you give them a print, it's going to go in the same fucking pile of prints all of you have somewhere. Because if you're going to frame it, that costs a small fortune, right? And I was trying my absolute fucking best to contribute anything worth a fuck, right? And I just wasn't as good. So what did I kept working. I kept trying to do it. I kept trying to bring something new to the table because, you know, especially the traditional guys, it's the funniest thing because they haven't done anything new ever, almost. Fucking ever, you know? And then I'm at the point in my life where if I see another dragon back piece that's perfect, I can't care. You can't pay me to give a fuck anymore. I've already seen it.
It's interesting to hear somebody like you say that, because I'll be honest with you, I guarantee that's exactly what the majority of the people that are this new breed of tattooer have been thinking, and I'm sure it's been the last 15, 20 years. There are people out there who don't care about the traditions that you guys want to uphold. So now, is there a way, is it worth breaking down those boundaries and trying to get everybody on the same fucking page and get them to respect what it is that we do and what it is that you love?
It's like,
no, I get it.
It's like trying to get somebody to fucking quit drinking. They gotta want to do it.
You do realize you kind of have to live it. You know, put one foot in one of their shoes just to know where their heads are at. Well, or you could just simply say, "Fuck it, I don't really give a shit."
On that because we're not going to get a dissenting opinion in here. This is a very like-minded. But when you started tattooing, what we did. Before you could become like you were talking about Shotzi, really wanted to push the art process of tattooing. But before he could get there, he had to be an electrician. He had to be an engineer. You had to do all these other things before you could get to the part where you could make your art great. And we all had that in common. But you don't have to do that now. And what responsibility? Because I'm just playing devil's advocate because that voice isn't here. What responsibility does that new generation have to give a shit? They don't have to worry about if the machines are breaking down, how to make needles, how to mix pigment. Those are just things that they're never going to have. And it's important to me that they respect it. I'm very lucky. I have a very young crew that works for me, and those dudes are so hungry. The culture in my shop is so hungry for exactly what these guys have to teach. But as a bunch of older tattooers that are all pretty shitty about the way things are, what responsibility do they have? What can we do as the older generation to bring them in and make them understand, like, you should know who Cap Coleman is. You should know who all these dudes are and all this thing is, instead of us just being mad at them.
Well, I love that because that's what I said before I got here. What is this going to be? A bunch of mad dudes in a room. Yeah. As I was guaranteeing that. I said it's going to be a bunch of mad dudes that they're like, why isn't it 1995 again? And I'm going to be like, I don't know. We got to go to North Carolina. And I was going to fuck off. And I do understand that completely. And when there is, and you know, and when I'm walking through all these booths and I'm saying, fucking lame, there's always somebody, and I'm like, this is pretty fucking cool, man. I like what you're getting into. You're into it. You're into this, right? And 90% of the time, that person does want to know. Nobody wants to be a fucking poser of it, right? But, you know, we expect everybody that we don't know. You're like, hey, you better fucking come. You better come all the way to Tat Mecca, whatever that is to you, and you better fucking high five us. And you better do what we think, or else, or else you're a fucking piece of shit for the rest of time, right? Yeah. And if you're like, well, what the fuck do you want for me to do? Like, do I try and make a living? Do I try and do this? This works easier for me. And like I said, none of that has ever really been the defining factor, right? Of, you know, do I think you're doing the same thing as me? That doesn't mean doing the same thing as me. Like I told my daughter, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Because as long as you're doing your job, which is people walk in here and they come to buy tats and the only thing we sell here is tats, and then you give that to them, you're a tatter, okay? That means you make a living, okay? And then the other version is the people who don't, like you're, you know, not only not contributing, you aren't helping, but should these people come and bend a knee and act right, and you should read all the old tattoo magazines and you should give a shit? I don't necessarily think that's a requirement, but do you actually understand what the fuck our job is? Yeah. And a lot of people don't. And I'm like, hey, do you understand that? And I see people like, I'm going to teach my kid. I'm like, no, the fuck you're not. There's going to be nothing to teach them, because they're going to get there and they're not going to have a job to do. You were gonna fucking sell the car for gas money long before we get there, because your understanding of the overall is not super great. So do I think everybody should like the same thing? Do I think you should look forward? Do I think rotaries are bad? Not at all. I know a lot of people that do exactly nothing I do, and I think they're all right guys.
I'll fuck you up later for saying that.
Well, I think what it comes down to is that you can be taught technique. You can't be taught passion. Anyone can be taught a skill.
I've got
to actually have heart and desire to just want to know where it came from and where it's going, that part you cannot be taught. Like, that is lived with inside of you, or it just doesn't exist, you know?
I think there's an issue with the fact that, like, a lot of us, by show of hands, like, who's kind of felt lonely lately in tattooing? Like, we did this strictly because of all these hands that are up. And we all feel this way because this young generation doesn't really care, and we're mad about it. And they don't care that we're mad about it. They don't give a shit.
Well, I think so.
And it bums us all out, you know.
I feel really dope about tattooing right now.
Yeah.
For this reason, I think I get to be counterculture in a mainstream world. And when I go to a tattoo convention, I'm the only motherfucker in the row using coils and making noise, and all the shit in my booth is hand fucking painted. And I got like 45 sheets of hand-painted flash between me and my homeboy. And we stand out like a motherfucker, and we're the coolest dudes in the fucking booth. Just because Green Day exists doesn't mean punk rock's dead, because I don't consider Green Day punk rock. Oh yeah. They don't exist in the same fucking world as me. I'm a fucking tattooer, and as long as in my tattoo shop only coils are allowed to exist, and we listen to fucking punk rock, and we listen to ska, and we listen to rockabilly, and we listen to dope ass fucking counterculture shit, then tattooing exists in its true form, and it exists in my shop. And it can exist in your shop, and you don't have to give a fuck about what Green Day is doing.
I think, like, to talk about, so you asked what to define what like a real tattooer and a not is. I think for the real tattooers like this dude here, for us, it's compulsory. It's something that I can't help the fact that I'm here. I can't help but wake up every day and want to do this shit. It's in my blood, but there was a chick that worked at a shop that I was at, and she thought tattooing would help get her famous. That's why she was there. It wasn't about being a tattooer. It wasn't about that. It was about her making cool videos on TikTok and becoming a TikTok star, and her being a tattooer was going to make that easier for her. And I never wanted to hit a woman, but I kind of thought about throwing some shit at her. But, like, you know, like you're talking about fucking, how much time do you have in 40-something sheets of flash, dog? You know what I mean? Like, it's something that you can't help but to do. You're driven. And like what Randy said, it's like whenever it comes down to being an option, that's where we can tell the real from the fake. And the fake ones right now are the ones that are worried about making the fucking TikTok videos and getting popular, and not about honoring what has been built. Because I even had this conversation with somebody else last week. I was tattooing them, and they were like, "What would you do if you won the lottery?" I was like, "I'm still be right here. I'd just probably do it for free."
I wouldn't. I'd be gone, dude.
I mean, good for you. But it's the same thing. Like, I would use my lottery money.
Gone, dude.
I would use my lottery money to buy more metal to make fucking machines with and shit. It's like, I don't know. But
I would
anyway.
I would buy an AC for my machine shop. If I won the lottery, I was like, we're gonna get at a good temperature. We're gonna think about what to do next, plot our next move. Okay, but first, I'm tired of fucking being hot. I'm so sick of it.
Still got air conditioning.
I
in
know,
that
it's
bitch.
fucking so hot.
No wonder I ain't going.
Well, I mean also somebody goes, "I want to come build a machine," and I go, "Yeah," and they go, "I'm really excited. It should be fun." I was like, "It ain't fucking fun."
Hey, I make it fun. I make machine building fun. There's people that have been to it. They know it's fun when they come. And
Well,
shit
when
with
it's
me.
fucking. When
having
it's
to pick up all the Allen wrenches I dropped and all that shit.
But after getting, like, I'm looking at my hand, I have metal splinters in it and stuff, and that's my own fault, you know. But people want to build it, and the concept is way more alluring than the actual act of it. You know, saying I have 45 sheets. I've painted 45 sheets of flash, and by the time I was done, I was ready to be done. I was okay to be done for a bit, you know.
Oh, I didn't do those in a row.
Oh, okay. No, I do it in a row.
Just-
I do it. I do them like.
pile 'em on.
Yeah, I always did it like push-ups till it was just. I don't know. I never appreciated anything that didn't hurt. So I was like, oh, okay. But I appreciate that you want to come. But when I see the life leave your eyes, hour 4 of you don't know how hacksaws work, it's.
Well,
we can
that's-
tell who's a tatter, you know. Like,
That's something too. Like,
we can tell.
I used to find comfort in the work, like chasing, like, you know, studying the needles and the shit and all the intricacies of it. I found solace in that. That was my happy place. And when people don't give a shit, it's like, oh, well, you just pissed on my favorite thing in the world.
Well, but let me ask you a question, man. Like, you got to look at it from the perspective of not everybody got into it, like you said, to be a tattooer, because they didn't understand it in the first place. So you can't really take. And by the way, I'm playing devil's advocate here,
Sure.
because apparently there's no fucking tattoo artiste in the fucking room. But my point being is, it's like, you know, there are people that do this for other fucking reasons. You know what I mean? And again, I think that the respect for the trade is insanely important. Do I think you need to learn every little thing about it? No, I don't. Okay, again, depending on when you came into it, it really depends. I mean, there are people out there who admire him and don't know anything beyond that. And the only reason they may know something beyond it is because he's mentioned it a dozen times and they learned a little bit off of that. You know what I mean? So to take away from the artist, the people that want to produce tattoos, tattoo art, okay, but they don't have an appreciation for machine building and pigment making and everything else. I think that it's kind of, it's taking away from their art and what they love. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's necessarily, I don't think it's necessarily right. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the reasons I don't think there's always going to be different planes of tattooing, and we're never going to exist on theirs, and they're not going to exist on ours.
Well, I think, like, whenever you understand the amount of work, then you can appreciate. If you go into it and you're just like, I like doing this thing because it. I guess I'm talking more to like the TikTok stars and all the shit. It's like, what I find is that they use it more for their own ego and make it about them. They put on the Beats headphones and they're fucking like, fuck you, dude, I'm just drilling on your arm.
But here's the crazy thing about that is, we live in a fucking time where they're told that that's going to get them further. Now, not everybody's doing it strictly out of ego.
Sure.
A lot of them are doing it because they think it's going to get them to the next fucking step. It's going to get them to the next level. And they're not entirely fucking wrong. To me, I feel that you're selling your soul a tiny bit in order to fucking get to that point. And at that point, you're not even who you are.
Right.
Like when you're told to use this type of music, post this time of day, have this kind of angle, use this fucking filter, where the fuck is the unique? Where's the fucking artist? Like, where the fuck
well, and that's
are you?
That goes to like what Randy was saying, like where you walk through a fucking convention and it all looks the same.
Yeah.
Like, I
All
can't
right,
tell
well,
you how many
Let
stickers.
me ask you guys a question though. You guys have all of you guys had apprentices before?
One.
Never.
Yes.
Never. All right. So, is it the lack of kids that don't give a shit, or they just weren't taught? How many people now are apprentices that were only been apprenticing or tattooing for 3 years, haven't really showed anything about history? I mean, we've had a lot of young people here, and the reason why they're here is because they said their mentor never taught them anything, because maybe their mentor didn't know.
Oh,
shit.
I've heard that all
And so
the
thing
last
is
couple
like
days.
we go back 15 years, and you got guys who were just too fucking lazy to take out their own trash or mop their floors, and they're like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna just get me a fucking apprentice, teach them some bullshit, not really give them, hey, here's how you break down a machine, here's how you tune a machine, here's how you build needles. Well, you don't need to know that no more because it's easy to buy now. So maybe that just kind of dwindled along the way, and again, egos back then played a part where they do now. And maybe it's just because that they just weren't taught the questions to ask.
That's fair.
Maybe that they just don't know enough. And it's not to say that the younger generation doesn't care. It's just maybe they don't know what they should care about.
Yeah.
They're just taught out of convenience.
Yeah. What's your question? What's your question here, this guy?
Well, I was going to say, I think a lot of it is culture. What you're doing right now is what it needs. Because, like you're saying, some people had bad apprentices. I had a bad apprenticeship. I was basically the front counter guy for 2 years and learned nothing and got a license because of the legal system. That's why I'm here to learn. So I think one good step is finding people who give a shit, because he said everyone here's like-minded. So I think events like this are going to attract people who give a shit.
Usually people do, because Jimmy's saying, well, no one ever taught. I think I taught, Josh has worked at the shop for 5 years. I taught him how to tattoo. He still works at the same shop, which I know is a unicorn of a situation in modern times. That you're supposed to quit 2 years in, go open up your own shop, and then talk about everyone's a fucking asshole to you. Yes, that is the way to do it. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, I didn't understand that, because in the beginning I was like, you want to show up and be a jerk off who doesn't know shit about anything and everyone makes fun of you? And he's like, not at all. And so, well, then here's a bunch of shit to know. And then he goes, okay, I'm gonna know all that shit. And then it's a very simple process with a like-minded person. But I have met other people where you're like, hey man, that's cool what you're doing. And they go, yeah, I think it's so and so. I'm like, it's fucking lame. You need to do some cooler shit than this right now, and I'll tell you how, and I tell you how, and then you go, yeah, but I just kind of like this, and then I'm like, okay, fuck off for me, and it eventually what I don't understand is the bar, because people always talk about, I had a traditional apprenticeship. Like I know a lot of people think there's like a fucking constitution that we're gonna find in a cave somewhere. It's like, this is what tats are supposed to happen. Like, I know people believe that, right? And I've asked tattooers that are old, and I said, did you do a 2-year apprenticeship? And he was like, we didn't do any fucking apprenticeship. You just started tattooing, and if you made money and stuck around, that was the best. And then things developed where people were like, hey, we should really teach people how to give a fuck. And then once you start teaching them how to give a fuck, then the next generation wants to give a fuck. And then he's like, I've heard 2 stories, 2 versions, your version, always. I do a lot of seminars, and everyone's like, my mentor told me these were hard to use, so I should just use pen. And I was like, that guy fucking sucks,
Honestly, yeah.
And I was like, and I just mean like he just probably sucks, like not like, oh, he's distasteful. I'm like he needs to move away from us. Like he needs to get the fuck out of our lives.
Chew on this for a second. I'm not a jealous person at all, but I am jealous of the amount of access to information these days. Because if I wanted to learn something 30 years ago, I had to ask somebody that might know where to find it. Oh, that guy? Yeah, he's out in Florida. Fuck, dude, I gotta go to Florida to learn this? Okay, let's go to Florida. You know what I mean? Let's say you want to learn about, I want to learn about tattoo machine building. Oh, okay, look at this. Oh, look at all these guys that I have access to. It's just like all these guys that I could just pick apart and look at their shit and do this, or I want to learn about this, or I want to learn about flash painting. Look at all these guys that paint flash. Like I think that's great, which is also frustrating. It's like all this information and people still don't fucking know. Like they still don't know to do like the proper way. It's like they always choose the worst candidate. Like, oh, all these flash painters, I'm gonna choose this guy. Well, that's the shittiest one out of all of them, and you chose that motherfucker. You know what I mean? It's such a weird thing, like what you said, like that, and like what he was saying. You know, to seek the knowledge was always my thing. I had a guy recently come and do a machine workshop with me, and he was from Chicago, a young kid, and it was so strange. I was sitting there eating cookie. I cooked dinner for him at barbecue. And he goes, yeah, man, I had to kind of sneak over here. And I went, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, my shop owners, they don't want me to learn about coil tattoo machines. I went, hold the fuck on. What do you mean they don't want you to learn? Yeah, they don't even want me to learn or ask questions about coil tattoo machines. And I said, listen, I'm going to give you a little unsolicited advice. I said, any person, in whether it's fucking computers or crocheting or auto mechanics, anybody that will stifle you guys or anybody from knowledge, fucking run the opposite way. Because knowledge about anything is fucking great. Knowledge is fucking great. And for them to say that, and this poor kid, he was 22 years old, younger than my kids. And the fact that he was like, fuck these guys, I'm going to sneak out there. And like, I was like, this little motherfucker's doing something fucking shady, and I love it. Like, it's just fucking great. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do with those machines? He's like, well, I don't know. I said, you know what you need to do? I'm going to go in there. I'm going to give you some fucking needles and tubes. You go light that motherfucker up right in front of them, dude. That's what you do. And if they give you grief, tell them to fucking eat a dick and go find another job, dude. Like, that's what you should do. Oh, fuck, I don't know. I said, no, you will figure it out. If you lose your job, and you'll figure it the fuck out if you're put in that situation. But it was just mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing that somebody would really say, I don't want you to learn. I don't want you to learn about that. Like, that's if, like, you know, one of you guys was like, hey, let me, like the young lady that's going to do sculpting, hey, let me show you some shit about sculpting. Nah, I don't want to fucking learn that. It's like, I'm not a sculptor. I'm not going to be a sculptor, but I want to see the process. I want to know how it's done because it's just creative, and I'm a creative person, and I like to see how other people think. Am I going to go sculpt? No. Do I want to? No. I'd rather buy her stuff and look at it and enjoy it, you know, or buy somebody else's painting and look at it and enjoy it. You know, I get it. Hey, how many times do you ever tattoo yourself? Fuck no, I don't tattoo myself. I know so many of the greatest artists in the world. I want to look at their shit. I don't want to look at my stuff all over my body. You know, it's just the weirdest thing. And it goes back to that thing, man, of the whole knowledge is power thing, because it really fucking is. It really fucking, whether you do something with it or not. Imagine knowing about crocheting and looking like this, and you go around crocheters and you're like, oh yeah, this is the kind of needle and yarn, and they're like, whoa, dude, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, one of you youngsters come and sits with us and starts talking machines, and me and him are going to know about this stuff, and it's really cool, man, to have that stuff.
All right, tangent, Warren. We got a question over here.
Yes.
So my kind of thing is, I'm curious, you know, how many people that have been tattooing. I've been tattooing for almost 25 years, and as far as I'm concerned, you know, these guys, I'm green, honestly. That's how I feel, and I always will. But when you've been tattooing for 5 years, or 3 years, or 2 years, or whatever, you shouldn't go out and get an apprentice because you want to make more money. Like, you don't even know what you're doing yet. And I'm not kicking anyone out because I don't know anybody in this room. But I'm saying, if you're doing it, it's wrong. You need to know what these guys are saying and listen, because these things are slow, I should say quickly fading away. They're never going to come back if we don't hold on to it. And you have to, you know, the whole thing with respect. But I mean, you're literally not, you don't know what you're doing. Like, you're teaching things wrong. And I think that that's a really shitty thing, because these people that really want to actually tattoo are going to, like, they have to unlearn the bad habits. You know, and the things that they're being taught to by someone that is a fucking influencer or some bullshit, that it really doesn't matter in the scope of life. It's not genuine, you know what I mean? And that's what this is about. And that's what you guys are getting across.
It's like the blind leading the blind.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? It's such a cliche, but it's really true. You know, it's a blind
really
leading the
all I
blind.
have to say.
Well, and again, I think that's part of the reason, like, we complain about a younger generation getting into stuff, and then they're basically it's like the young teaching the young because they don't know any better. But the fact of the matter is, not all of them are doing it for money. They're doing it because they think that it's not a problem. They don't see the issues because they had no discipline coming into it. And you can't necessarily fault them because everything has been handed to them on a platter. And that's not to say that there aren't people that have been tattooing for a year that have not had true struggles. You know what I mean? I think what we're going to see now with what's happening is a lot of the younger cats that are maybe having issues money-wise because their shops aren't quite as busy, okay?
Right.
They may not realize that it's an issue. They may look at it as like, well, I'm not making as much money, but my 2 roommates are okay, whatever,
So the kid that Eric knows, I know. And I asked him, and this kid's a killer. He's going to be fucking on fire if he gets, he's doing good tattoos already. He's into a traditional, he has the fundamentals, and he does use coils. But the guy telling him that he doesn't want him to use them, and he doesn't need to know about them, because I can promise you, the dude that is apprenticing him doesn't know about them. He doesn't have the knowledge to give.
It's his own insecurities.
And it doesn't want to, he can't explain it to him, because he's like, it's bullshit, you don't need that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do know what you're talking about.
That kind of leads into a question I wanted to ask Jake. When it comes to respect and finding the right environment in shops. So something that I think is really unique about you four and on the mic is you're all shop owners. So my question as like a second-year tattooer is, what are you doing as shop owners to respect the craft and kind of hold the line? Like, what's important to you as far as having new artists coming out your shop or just the crew that you have in general? Like, how can we go about before somebody else opens another shop, because tattooers don't need more shops. We need better leadership. So what are the questions we can look for as we're going around and trying to find the right place? Because we don't want to shop hop. We don't want to, just go out on our own. We want to find the knowledge. But a big thing that I've ran into is like finding the right environment of workhorses where everybody's passionate, everybody's excited. Because if you've only got 2 people out of 10 people that are super stoked about it, how can those 2 people carry the passion and drive for the craft or like maintain the respect? So as shop owners, and I know Eric, you're up in Milwaukee now, but you've had an incredible amount of tattooers come through your shop that have a lot of history that most people don't know about. And I only know about you two or before previously because I had a mentor that found that shit important, and I realized like that's unique in this day and age. So what can we better do to lead or before people open up shops? What are things that you think that they should know or the respect and standards that you just think through and through they should have before they consider taking on that responsibility?
What do you guys want to start at the end?
Go ahead.
Yes, start at the end.
The first thing I look for when I go into a shop to kind of assess the environment is, are there any original paintings on the wall? Are they buying, are they supporting other tattooers, or are they just buying shit from a company? One of the things that I like to do at my shop is in our basement, we got it's probably about as big as this one, but like I have a station set up to where if you want to, frame a painting, like we have a mat cutter, we have the whole thing. We have, a paint station set up. We have a needle making station set up. We have a machine repair thing. So like, I hear a lot of the older dudes now, dudes older than me, bitching about these like yoga studio looking tattoo shops where you walk in and it looks like a fucking dentist office, and it's not. It doesn't have shit like that on the wall where it's like fucking sheets of flash and artwork. If it looks like a tattoo shop, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to be around the right type of people. But I've been in shops before where it's nothing but just kind of hotel art and wall, prints and posters and shit, and it doesn't. You can just kind of feel the energy. Ask those people, if they know, do you know about history? Do you know, you can kind of feel it.
I think it's like Russian roulette, man, trying to get people nowadays to come work in a shop. I mean, I had my shop in Dallas since 1998, and then in 2007, end of 2007, I took it to a private studio, not by choice, but because I had to, because of rezoning and stuff like that. So I've had the same artist with me in that private studio, so I didn't have to really deal with, somebody coming to me looking for a gig, because it was mostly, I would look for somebody. I would go to somebody and say, hey man, you want to fucking come and work? Like, you're what I want. Headhunting, basically, you know? And a lot of times, based on their answer, if they're like, fuck yeah, I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't want you. You ain't loyal. You ain't no loyal. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dude, really? You gonna leave this shop just because I asked you? You know, like, I don't say that, but it's like, yeah, dude, you're out. But no, to answer your question, I think it is. I think it's very difficult because the you know, that old saying of the low hanging fruit, man. The low hanging fruit is the first thing you're gonna run into, because there's so many of that nowadays, because there's so many people that are doing this, that the established and the successful ones have already found their niche, and they're already in a place and they're already comfortable. Like, here, I'll give you an example. My buddy Henry Powell, that's worked for Corey Miller for fucking almost 34 years, worked for one guy his whole career. Could have probably opened up a shop anytime, but it's like, that's a loyal son of a bitch right there. Like, you know, that guy will have it all one day when Corey's gone, probably, because he has that loyalty. And that's so hard to find, because you all of a sudden, yeah, look at all these motherfuckers coming in here getting tattooed by me, and I'm giving, you know, 40 or 30% of my money to this fucking guy. Fuck that. Oh, I'm gonna go do my own thing now. And then they run into that problem. Now they got to find a handful of people to come and do this and to come and do that. And next thing you know, it's like this vicious circle of things. And like, it's why I will never open up another street shop. Even though I've gotten offered, people have asked me, oh, you're all finance. It's like, I don't fucking want that responsibility. I don't want the headache. I don't want to deal with personalities. You know, I want to deal with, I just want to come in and I want to do my work and I want to fucking go home. Like, I just want that simplicity. I'm to that point where I still love tattooing, but I also see the fucking finish line. I'm very aware of my mortality, and I know that I can't do this forever, and especially these days in age where, like, fucking people are dropping like flies, man. All the people that I looked up to and see and like appreciated and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, because I knew it would get brought up, but you know, losing Jack was like, fucking piece of my soul was gone, and tattooing was like just not that cool once he took off. You know what I'm saying? And that dude taught me so much, and we talked about that. What are you gonna do, Holmes, when you get to that point? I hope somebody like this guy says, hey man, you need to fucking hang it up, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope somebody does. I hope somebody comes to me and says, hey man, you fucking lost that step. Like, time to start fucking go open up that hot dog stand that you talked about. You know what I mean? Like, go sell those fucking hot dogs, because yeah, that line work is shaky as fuck. It's a weird thing, man. So it's really hard to answer that question of how you can find the right people. You know, I was always taught, surround yourself with greatness. I did. I surrounded myself with greatness my whole fucking career, and those greatness are fucking going away now. And it's real hard to find other people now to surround myself with. And I'm kind of find myself on an island a lot of times with fucking no cell reception where I can call somebody and talk to them or interact with people. It's like I'm out there alone, and you know, you figure it out and you move on. You know, and hopefully one day I can do what Jack did. Hopefully I could just say, fucking see you later. And some of you might know that story, but a lot of you don't. But you know, Jack didn't die. He just fucking took off somewhere. And I hope I'm able to do that one day, you know?
Well,
all right, more scenic route, man. You guys gotta be answer faster.
You want me to answer faster?
Faster answers.
Okay, I'm going to answer several questions rapidly. Okay, fucking rapidly.
Several questions, one answer.
I'm going to give you several answers. I'm going to cover a couple bases. Yes, I have always told Eric that I will put him on an iceberg and crack it the fuck off in the ocean. As soon as it's embarrassing to know him, he's done.
You gave that up a long time.
Yeah, machine's down for you, but I'll bring Dave Navarro down to your fucking house to call him. So, the next one.
No more.
The next one is the timeline that I owned a shop. The one thing that I always wanted to hire, and what I've realized in places I thought were successful, is they always hired people that had a fucking an anchor in their life. They were married, they had kids, they owned a house, they had a fucking reason to not act like a fucking jerk off at all times. Because when I met a 22-year-old kid, that kid was like, I don't care if I tattoo Dave. Maybe I'll tattoo tomorrow. I drive a 98 Honda. I'm like, fucking get the fuck off. Because that guy does cocaine, okay? Almost always. And it's never a problem. And what's going to happen is your shop, I guess from an owner's perspective, I don't like revolving fucking doors. I like when people come into the shop, it's the same fucking face that's been there. They came in 4 years ago. Who'd you get tattooed by? Him. And the way you find him is, one thing is I've never been hiring. I've never been hiring. And people have asked for jobs. Hey, are you hiring? And the things I look for is people go, I have a portfolio, and I go, well, that's cool. Let me take a look. And if they come in person, if you message me, no. If you call me, no. If you call me on the phone because you live in fucking another state, I understand that. But it better be to say on August 10th I'm going to be there. Will you? And I'll say, yeah, man, I'll come talk to you. And your demeanor, what you're looking for, right? Because at this point, I already have enough kids. I don't want to babysit somebody every goddamn day. I don't want to be like, hey, don't open up a shop around the corner, please. I don't want to have to fucking tell you that. And a weird thing is no one did. And I told him directly, don't fucking fuck me. And here's how you fuck me. I just want you to be clear so you don't get it murky. And then he goes, okay, I won't fuck you. And I said, handshake, I'll see you out there. And then we go to work. And
how many times have you asked me?
Yeah. And but when you're looking for a job, if you go into a shop and they don't have any tattoo brand on the walls, that's not your place. I'm being fucking serious. You're laughing, ha ha ha.
Yeah, that's true.
If they don't have JD Crow Flash, they're not your place. And if they have it old, that can be considered good or bad. If it's in a flash rack with 95 other things that have never moved, that's a 50-50 shot.
Hey, I've got a flash rack in my shop.
Yeah, but I'm saying I said it's a 50-50 shot, okay? Because if you walk in and a fucking 6 foot tall biker named fucking T-Bone still runs shit, it could be fun to work there for 2 years. I would recommend, fuck yeah, Paul, get in there, see what's going on. Pick his brain. It doesn't go very deep, but you're going to learn a lot of stuff. You're going to learn about tats, for goddamn sure. You're going to learn what not to do a lot of. Okay? Yeah. Because one of my biggest things is I was like, oh, you never work for Hell's Angel shop? Oh, that sounds dangerous. Fuck yeah. It's fun. It's pretty fun. You don't have to be in the gang or anything, but you get to be around it. You learn about some tattoo and stuff. Because they're not teaching you old shit. I'm teaching you shit that's my actual job. Because I've always taught him, you know what I taught him? And they said, hey man, if Instagram dies tomorrow, you need to be able to do this job. And no one's ever conceptualized that shit. I thought MySpace would never end. I thought Tom was my friend till we died. And look where the fuck we're at. I don't see Tom any goddamn where. And Mark Zuckerberg isn't even my fucking friend on Instagram.
There you go.
If Instagram dies, I've built a shop with the mindset at all times that if Instagram dies, can I survive with local clientele being a regular fucking person? Not to be rich, but can I make a living? And then what people think, if you are young, you go, I hate where I work. And everywhere else, I can't work there. And I also don't do rent. I don't do rent ever. I will never do rent. I don't do 50-50, but I don't do rent. If you work here, you work here. If you don't, then you need to go fuck off again. Once again, you got the same boat with the same dude who doesn't have JD Crow Flash and get the fuck away from me. And you can tell immediately. And people get comfortable. And I go into a lot of shops, and it's just, I don't know, tattooing is always fun. When you go into a shop, it should be an experience. And when you go into a shop and it's not an experience, consider that. I don't like having rooms. If you go into shops that have separate rooms, it's not my favorite thing. There's some shops that have them, and I like it, but for the most part, me and him tattoo like we're at a convention. I have 9 stations, and we tattoo back to back, like Forrest Gump. So they don't got to sleep in the mud. We tattoo that close. So when we go to a convention, it's literally the same. There's no difference. We could spread out all the fucking way over. He could have his whole own shop in the back of my shop, and I wouldn't know for a while. But things like that, And if you go into a shop and you're like, if you walk in and there's 9 people that work there, and you say, hey, I'm looking for a job, and then one person says, hey, how you doing? What's up? Hey, can I help you? Or if you walk into a shop and you get to stand there trespassing for a while before someone fucking eventually says, do you have an appointment? If someone asks, do you have an appointment? No, you don't. You need to go home because that place sucks. Okay. Another thing is if you walk in and they say, We're a family here. That is a red flag the size of a car dealership. We are not a family. Like at this point, I don't know how to talk nice to him. I don't know how. And he doesn't know how to talk nice to me. And we have another guy at work who's been tattooing for 35 years. He learned how to tattoo from Mike Pike's dad. We don't know how to be nice to him. All I do is make jokes about everything I can. What is it going to take? Where's the line? What is it going to take for me to find the line? But at no point have I said we're fucking family, right? Because I've told him that. So he knows if we went to a shop, if I wasn't there, he goes, they said we're family. I'd be like, yeah, well, Olive Garden says that shit too. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, when you're looking for a place, is this a cool place? Some places you aren't going to work for 25 years. Some places you're going to work for 5 years. Sometimes you need to work at a stair step. I've worked for every kind of motherfucking shop, every kind of person, every kind of psychopath there ever is. I worked for guys that were such drug addicts. We used to draw outlines around their bodies, and it looked like a genocide at the end of the month because none of us swept. We used to draw chalk outlines on the ground. And then I've worked for guys who had 7 shops, and they were going to, I don't know, buy the world. I don't know what the fuck their plan was. But I got paychecks, and I had to pay taxes, and that was not good. That was not a good time, right? And I've worked for, the most I ever made until opening my own shop in 2019 was 55%. That is the most I ever made in my whole life.
Well, that's changed.
Yeah, that's changed. Yeah, that's changed.
How's about your shop, Joe?
So I'll keep mine short because obviously this motherfucker can't. So Hope is going to be 23 years, I think, this year, or the end of the year. And then, so I've been working with Eric Merrill for that whole time. And I was there. I went to Connecticut. I worked with him for a year at Darkside. So Eric and I have been working together for 24, 25 years. And I'll be completely honest with you, you work for somebody that long, I agree. It's not necessarily family, it's just routine. And these are people you look out for. So no matter how much you fucking hate that person, you're still looking out for that fucking person. And it's the God's honest truth. You know what I mean? The next guy down the line has been tattooing with me for 20 years, 19 years. The next guy after that is 16 years. Next guy after that, like everybody with the exception of 2 individuals that have worked at my shop have been with me since they started working there. And I think I have 2, I don't remember the years, but they've been there for maybe 3 or 4 years. I've been insanely fortunate in the sense that I don't just hire anybody. The 2 people that I did just hire like that lasted less than 6 months. You know what I mean? So I think it's important that you get to know the individuals. It's why I've never had an apprentice. I have never met somebody that I felt so strongly that needed to learn how to tattoo that I was like, I gotta put a machine in this motherfucker's hand. And it could just be who I am, that most people are not willing to come up to me and go, I'm gonna ask him to apprentice me. They just simply fucking don't. And not for nothing, I'm fine with that, because I don't need to teach anybody. There's enough motherfuckers in this business with incredible talent that I don't need to bring somebody in. You know what I mean? And that's just me personally. I'm not knocking anybody who's ever taken on an apprentice, but if you've had more than 3 or 4 apprentices in your career and you've been doing this less than fucking 10, 15 years, that's too fucking much. No offense. But yeah, the guys I got working for me, we put up with each other. It ain't family. It's a mutual respect for sharing a fucking workspace. It's like living with somebody. If someone leaves the toilet seat down and pisses all over it, that motherfucker needs to go. And that's because they simply do not respect your fucking space. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of thing that as tattooers, sometimes, there's a lot of people out there that put up with shit because of talent. Fuck talent. Because realistically, talent is only going to bring so much through the door, and not for nothing, the most talented individuals, and I've worked with some of them, suck. Okay? The fact of the matter is this is a personal service fucking business. And if the person isn't good, chances are the amount of talent he brings to the table isn't nearly enough to fucking deal with. Let that cocksucker be in a fucking private studio and deal with his own bullshit. Let him surround himself with a bunch of fucking wannabes that will put up with the shit that guy is going to dish out. You know what I mean? So realistically, I'm not going to say that the way I run my shop is right, because it's fucking not. The fact that it's still open is a shock. But the fact of the matter is the people I work with, out of mutual respect for who they are and what they're capable of doing, we all deal with one another. And that's what it comes down to. In my opinion, it's always been the experience that there's always an asshole in the shop. 9 times out of 10, I'm the asshole. because I own the shop, I have to deal with all the bullshit, and I got the biggest fucking mouth. And I'm willing to deal with that as long as the shop continues to grow and everybody continues to make money. And that's that. It's just a matter of looking out for the people you work with. And it's not the people who work for you, it's the people who work with you. And that's that.
How was that answer any shorter?
Oh, it's a lot shorter than this fucking Gabby motherfucker.
Thank you.
All right, on that note,
Josh, go ahead. Josh,
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Let's throw it back. Could you explain to somebody, maybe give a short answer, to somebody who doesn't understand the nuance between protecting something you care about and you've grown through and learned, and when people say the word gatekeeping, what is the difference in there and why it matters? There's a lot of people that say, they'll say gatekeeping. They'll just say that word a lot, and I often see it from somebody who I feel like might not have been given information, or they've not taken the path to go seek that information, and they're not getting anywhere. I feel like it's an answer that you might have different perspectives.
It's to me, it's entitlement. It's somebody that genuinely comes up to you, and you can tell by their approach. It's like you can tell if somebody walks into a tattoo shop and they're serious about wanting to get a tattoo, or they're just like, whatever. You know what I mean? If somebody genuinely wants to know something, I can tell. But if somebody says, "Hey man, can you? I have this question about this and that, and and this and that. Can you you tell me about that?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't think I will." Well, that's kind of fucked up, man. Well, there you go. It's entitlement right there. Why do you think that you have a right to know the answer to the question just because you ask? You don't. You don't have a fucking right to know it. You know what I mean? If you approach me right, and I could tell there's genuineness, like you genuinely want to learn because you want to better yourself, I have no problem talking to you. So those are the ones that call us gatekeepers. Because I'll offer up information to people that genuinely want to know. I don't need to take that shit to the grave. You know what I mean? When people ask me stories about personal shit, like, no, I'm not going to tell you that because that's personal shit. But if you want to know about a tattoo machine, or, hey man, somebody, you built this, or can you answer me questions about this? And they're just kind of some condescending fuck. And it's like, no, dude, I'm not going to tell you anything. That's my idea behind the whole gatekeeping. And it's like, if I have the information and I say, hey, if you guys want to know, fucking drive to my house. Here's the address. I'll answer your question. The person that shows the fuck up, I'll tell them because they put in the effort. You know what I mean? That's the simple answer for that for me.
I had a dude one time. He was like, "Will you apprentice me?" I was like, "Nah, man." He was like, "Well, don't you want to be a part of my story?" I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I want to be the fucking ending. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my Christ!
And then
that's pretty creative.
I was kind of blown away.
Was he fucking around? Or
No, he was legit, dude. He was upset. He was like, "Don't you want to?" And as you were saying that, what's the fucking song? It's like something about hating outside of the club. You're just mad because you can't even get in. It's the people that are mad about gatekeeping are the ones that are being gatekept. The ones that, like he's saying, like the ones that make the effort and all that shit are the ones that are allowed through. Zach, fucking, this kid asked me about an apprenticeship. I told him straight up no. And then he kept coming and getting tattooed by me, hanging out. And I was like, homie, he asked me to look at his portfolio of drawings. And I would go through and I would shred every fucking one. Why does her face look smashed? Why is that eagle's fucking wing coming out of its neck? And like every time, dude, it's for real. And every time he would come back and get tattooed, he would have a whole new portfolio. So whenever it came time, and I was like, all right, man, you can hang out and sweep floors, and he earned his way in. But it was that fucking drive, like I was talking about earlier, the compulsion to do this thing that you want it so fucking bad that even if there is no carrot at the end of the fucking rainbow or whatever, you're still gonna fucking do it. And those are the people that I fuck with. Those are the ones that I find legit.
I think I've heard and I've seen people online. Somebody said, I'm getting tired of all these gatekeepers, and my first thought was, fuck yeah, they're getting tired.
Almost got rid of them, though. There's a little bit more push, and they'll go over the edge.
Lock the gates a little fucking harder, and they'll leave. And at this point, I don't even fucking care, because here's what's the thing: if I'm not a gatekeeper, we're friends, and then if I am a gatekeeper, you don't like me, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be your friend on either side. I don't like you, right? Like I said, you're not contributing shit to me or anyone else. But the gatekeeping, yeah, you need to weld the gate, is what I would do. Me personally.
See who climbs over.
Yeah. See who the fuck, because if a guy, because we had what do we have, a 12-year-old come in the shop, and he said, hey, what do tattoos cost? This was during school year and on a Wednesday. This fucking kid was rogue, right? But he said, how much you think this tat would cost? You know, I was like, I'll teach you how to tat right now, kid. I'm all you got. I know it when I see it. We're the same, you know? And, that kid will be in it for life. That kid would be, he'd be like, no, this is my life. You're fucking around in my life right now.
Unfortunately, that kid got hurt, got arrested knocking over a drugstore.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been in the shop, is all I'm saying. He could have been there, and he would have been, safe. I don't smoke weed no more. Shit would have been good for him. He'd have been regular, you know? But, yes, the gatekeeping and how do I decipher, like, oh, should I tell this person this secret? You know what's the best part is telling people secrets and they don't care. It's my fucking favorite, is to watch their face, not absorb any word I just said, and know that it doesn't matter. I could be like, here's the secret of everything. And they're like, okay. And then I never have to worry about that. You will never be competition.
Tell them the answer to the riddle, and they're like, okay, cool. But then they get right on their phone, start fucking texting and
then
taking pictures.
But the gatekeeping, yes, at this point, because you haven't gate kept. And like, I don't know if you understand math, okay? But I know that if the supply the demand for tattoos is 60, and the supply for doing those tattoos is 120 and goes up 17 every fucking day till we die. Because I don't know how many people we see retire. You guys see a lot of retirement posts? No, the whole goddamn silent room of no, because all you see is people. I'm getting, and I used to say, like, I don't own tattooing. I don't get to decide who's in tattooing. That's not for me. I'm not an egotistical piece of shit. And then the older I get, I'm like, fuck them, fuck that, fuck you, you know. And I'm just like, I don't care. And then it'd be like 1 out of 50 get over the gate, and I'm like, all right, man, you fucking chill. And then it will grow. But yes, it does feel a lot of times like people are taking a casual stroll. Like we get an email that looks like a formal AI. I don't know even they're called. What's it called when you the resume? The shit, a bunch of shit you're kind of good at. Vague shit you're good at. And hi, I'm considering getting into tattooing. And I was just like, fucking consider not doing it. So I mean, at this point, you know, that's my thoughts on it.
What people call gatekeeping, I just call taking care of fucking business. Like, just if nobody is there towing the line, then things get out of hand, and we're seeing that happen right now. If you're calling it gatekeeping, I think it's like what Eric said, it's privilege. It's got nothing to do with making any fucking sense. Like, you're the kid that expects a fucking car for his birthday. You're the kid that expects all your college to be paid for, your dorm to be paid for, your clothes to be paid for. You expect everything to be handed to you on a silver fucking platter. Go fuck yourself. That's bullshit. That's not how things are earned. And not for nothing with art in general, like just a fucking artist, you have to work for it. That's the whole fucking point of being an artist and being good at something and achieving something. There's something to be said for struggling 6 times and maybe never getting it right, but every single time it's fucking better. That's the whole fucking point of fucking working for something. And when you just roll into a place, plunk down a couple of bucks, and then some guy opens the door to fucking Wonka land. You know what I mean? Did you really earn anything? You know what I mean? Did you really earn anything? And I'm not going to say that everybody is going to be the same. There are some people that get very far doing just that because maybe they're that talented, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not willing to work, then go fuck yourself. Nothing should be given to everybody on a silver fucking platter. And you can call it gatekeeping, you're an asshole. There's no such fucking thing.
I just call it my business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
If you want to know my business, I mean, I gotta want to give it to you.
I see a lot of people just on what he said, like earning it. You know, when I do my little machine workshops and I see people come in there, and I make them do, and I make them build something. Their genuine reaction of like, I fucking did this. like I built this that could take care of my family. And seeing that expression is just the coolest thing for me.
That's how you know you're fucking old.
Well, it is. Well, no. It's almost like, so I have kids, so it's like I see that excitement when my kids achieve something, and it makes me happy for them, and it makes me happy to see because I could tell, and when somebody is just like, holy fuck, dude, like they just like they take it home and they look.
This is your 2-minute limit.
They take it home and they look at it and they're just like, wow, dude, that really makes me happy and excited about tattooing. Because they earned it, so they deserve that. So I'd like to praise them and give them that reaction,
Let's do one more and then we'll call it at that.
The one thing that I was going to say, which goes on to what you first brought up, invest in yourself. And what I say by that was, I was actively tattooing professionally, I was making money. But in the 90s, we didn't have all the luxuries we do now. I'm not going to sit and piss about that because it's over with. What I did by investing in myself was I was taking every penny and I was still eating mac and cheese. I have a freaking killer tattoo collection. And a whole lot, one of the things that you cannot replace is what was advertised in this, from the beginning, is the shit talk. I've got memories with these folks that will never be seen on a video, they'll never be on TikTok, none of that stuff. And I'm talking memories everywhere from us sitting down with sketchbooks together to late night partying. That can't be replaced. As long as you invest in yourself and you take that to tip generously and to be a sponge. And I will tell you, any good standing, they're not going to gatekeep you. If you've shown the respect that you flew across the country just to give them money to get tattooed, so you might learn something, that's where you earn their respect. And then that respect carries on for decades. And I still came here and I've learned and I've met some very cool people just from a weekend like this. I don't build machines on the regular. Tomorrow, what do you think I'm doing? Sitting with Eric, working on machines together. There's all things that you can learn as long as you have respect for the people. I was actively tattooing. I was making good money. I still did it anyway. I earned Raul's respect. That's why you see me drawing and painting consistently still to this day. Because I will tear my shit up and be like, oh, it's terrible. But I'm learning something from it. I get to hang out with my peers, and I'll be like, dude, be honest. And like, I've had plenty of my peers just go like, dude, what the fuck is this? This is garbage. And I'll go, okay, what makes you think it's garbage? They'll explain it. Trash.
I say that about Randerson machines all the time, dude. What's this garbage?
Dude, if you don't become your own worst critic, there's when you get back up. That's why I say don't let the apprenticeship end in-house. Fucking travel. They don't want you to travel. That means that they can't offer you what Eric can.
All right, on that is not a question.
Hi, Joe.
It was more of a long statement, but appreciated.
But the whole travel to learn was where I was going with it.
Yes.
She answered a question she had very early.
travel to learn is very
that goes back to the professional apprentice thing that I was talking about earlier. Is where you always leave your mind open to learn, and you're always like, a wise man knows that he knows nothing.
Yep. Being that this has gone the way it's gone these past couple of days, do you guys think that holding this in the future would help a little bit, at least with the situation?
I think so.
Especially if we do it like in other states, other guys' shops to spread the knowledge.
I think like I have respect for everybody in this room and that were in the room yesterday too, because I didn't know what this turnout would be like. But just the fact that you guys are interested and open enough to listening to us rant about bullshit like this gives me hope. So yeah, I think this would be fucking rad to keep it going.
Can I ask his question a little more bluntly? Do you guys think this was a waste of your time to come and do this?
No.
I like this.
No,
not at all.
Not at all, man.
This has been a blast.
I was waiting for the unfortunate, and I won't lie, I was waiting for I wonder if I'm going to run into the fucking dude that just is wanting to be seen, just to say they were here, like that really has no interest. They just want to say, yeah, I was hanging out with those guys.
Shockingly, that didn't happen.
Yeah, no, and I say that respectfully for everybody that's here, like everybody that I've interacted with, especially the younger tattooers that that are just apprenticing or finished apprenticing have been very, like, very genuine and very, intrigued and had a lot of questions and they kept this fucking thing shut and these open, which is what I was always told, and I noticed that. So yeah, I do appreciate everybody that's been here. I really genuinely don't have anything negative coming from this at all, except I didn't get to go eat at Chewy's with Joe.
Fuck.
That was about it. But no, it was great. So yeah, thank you guys for showing up and being here with all of us and listening to our old asses.
I appreciate the bluntness a lot because I am an asshole. So I do like when guys just, hey man, I'll sugarcoat some of it with fun, but no. So it was never going to be a waste of my time. That's optional for you because I thought worst case scenario.
Get to hang out with your homies.
I'm going to get to hang out with my homies, but second case, I brought my paint shit and I have to go to a convention from here. So I was just going to paint and I was going to make money anyway. Like I wasn't, and then I figured, no, I don't think it's a waste of my fucking time. I'm way more concerned that everyone's going to leave here and be like, that was a waste of my fucking time.
Yeah, there you go.
I just went and heard a bunch of shit that I could have, I'm in the same place I started mentally than hearing a bunch of the same dude. And it's weird to ever just, if you're curious, it is incredibly weird for me to be on a panel of anything. It is incredibly weird for me that people want to hear me talk. And it's weird because I know him and I know him really well and I know Jimmy and I know a lot of people really well. So to me, I was more concerned that it wasn't going to be a waste of my time, that it was going to be super fucking weird because the amount of time I've hung out with Eric and I'm like, hey, you want to tell other people stuff like we just say to each other regularly? And everyone's like, yeah, bro, that makes sense. And like, I don't know what the authority is for someone to be like, if this guy says you could talk, then you're definitely allowed to talk. And then I always ask him, I said, well, we got to check the tattoo Bible. That doesn't exist, like I said. So yeah, I think it's been cool. I appreciate everybody showing up and listening, and if I've at all answered any of the fucking questions you asked me.
Yeah. I think that, I totally don't think this is a waste of fucking time. I think it was a lot of fun. I think it was a bit educational, just being able to be amongst your peers and talk and shoot the shit and just pick people's brains. You can't go fucking wrong. I think it's something that's lacking in a lot of things. I think the one thing that Jimmy and Fudd and I talked about was the best parts of most conventions are not the tattoos that you're doing.
You're
it's hanging out
right.
with your friends.
Absolutely
after
right.
the fact, in the bar, pulling out photographs, fucking, reminiscing old days, going through the tattoos you may have done during the day or the tattoos you've done the past year, or just talking about machine theory or problems you're having, personal problems you're having with your shop, your home, whatever. I mean, the fact of the matter is we're all in the same business. If you're going to ask anybody how to handle a situation, it should be someone in the business, you know what I mean? As far as, is this going to happen again? Fuck yeah, I think it should. And not for nothing, and I hope I mean, none of us are going to hoard this bitch out. I think the biggest issue that we have with what's happening in the business right now is the fact that there's too fucking much. Someone hosts a convention, they decide to do a convention the following month. They do a convention a month after that. They do a convention a month after that. That nobody holds anything as being precious. You know what I mean? When you have to make the effort to be part of something, you have to take the time out of your busy schedule to be part of something. Could you imagine if this happened once a fucking month? I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there that would figure out that, oh, that's amazing. I would be incredible. I would love to do that. There's nothing incredible about it. It becomes just a fucking commonplace fucking thing. You know what I mean? One of the reasons that most of us love tattooing is because it's not a job. It's a fucking passion. You know what I mean? When the passion becomes the job, things become stale, things become a problem. You know what I mean? So with this, yes, I think we're going to do this again. It may not be in Ohio. It may be someplace else. You know what I mean? We don't know what we're going to do. This whole thing was an experiment, and I would like to think that the three of us felt it was successful. I would love to think that you all felt it was successful. And we're going to do it again. We're just not sure when and what it's going to look like.
And one more thing. Green Day is not punk rock.
I gotta end this. So I'm gonna end it with thank you everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it. And everybody out there in fucking YouTube world and the podcast thing, thank you very much for tuning in for another episode. Please like and subscribe, spread the fucking word. Everybody here, please subscribe to the channel, spread the fucking word. And this is the first Tat HoeDown in fucking Dayton, Ohio. Let's see where it takes us. See you when I see you.
Yeah!